actually setting this all up for me and like being on the podcast. So welcome to Soda with Sandy.
Nice to meet you, man. It's been a while. I've been trying to get in. We've been trying to do this for a long time. So much has been happening, but
yeah, like I'm glad we actually got to do this when both of us have moved to Tempe and we're back in the college space.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Our last semester.
I know it's a lot. It's a lot, but we're here. We're making it work.
Yeah, for real. How do you feel about the semester after like the year and a half that was online? We're back here. How does that like feel for you?
It's definitely weird. I think growing up in Arizona, I think, not to point fingers, but I think sometimes we kind of just tend to ignore the COVID factor a lot. And sometimes when I walk around campus, I'm like, it's crazy to think we were shut down for years because things are completely almost normal. I mean, so it's definitely weird, but you know, on the pro side, at minimum, it is definitely nice seeing some people and you know being able to see people face to face. So
it really is, because if you'd done this before, it would have been probably on some Zoom thing or something.
Absolutely.
I'm glad like we're doing this in person.
Yeah,
definitely. And like overall, like you said, you started like vlogging and started all of this in like the pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. So did you think like you're a completely different person from when you left to when you came back?
I would say so. I think that's just because of experience. I think when we go through different experiences in life, it kind of forms and shapes us a little differently. Vlogging is something I originally just started doing because going through COVID, it was kind of a tough time for me to, you know, just be isolated and not being able to see other people. And, you know, I thrive just being around people. So that was a really hard time, went through a dark time, and when vlogging, it was kind of something I was able to look back on, like memories, right? It kind of starts with Snapchat memories. You see something that pops up a year ago, and you kind of just laugh. And I think that's what vlogging was for me, is to be able to create this set of memories just with people and look back on it, and maybe eventually start sharing it with other people. And you know, so I would say so. I think ever since vlogging started, I've made a lot of new friends, and I've had a lot of opportunities, and because of that, it's been amazing. It's been a great ride so far.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I actually like saw a couple of your vlogs and they were like awesome. Like the birthday vlog was like really, really cool, and also the one where you gave your friend a car, that was something that was dope. And
yeah,
you've done a lot of really cool things, and that demonstrates like a fun part of you into the world, and like there's a lot of people that'll be like, wow, with that stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm just here in hopes to inspire. Like you know, I'm just a normal person, just had some bigger dreams and I didn't know where to start, so started somewhere, right? So
you're being really humble while saying you're a normal person. Like in like our like 30 minutes of an interaction, you've talked about like have like in the last few years you've come from like learning English to like owning your own companies here and like all of that. So that's like not something a normal person would do.
I think everyone sometimes, like people, we all have the opportunity, but sometimes, you know, we're scared to whatever the opportunity is. For me, like I said, I wasn't born here, like, you know, I was just a name on a list that they picked, so I had the opportunity to come here. And I always tell myself, if I wasn't picked and some other boy was picked to come here, I think he would take every opportunity he can. So the little I owe to that person or whoever couldn't come here is to make the most out of life.
Dude, that's an amazing way of looking at it. Over like the corona season of whatever was happening last year, and like when we were back in our homes and everything was online, especially school and work is what I mean by like everything was online,
right?
Even though we were hanging out with our friends and doing other things. But when I was in that space, like early on, I'm talking like March to like May, I went into like this very spiritual zone, and that's pretty much where this podcast actually sprung from. Before that, I was just like a very angsty kid, like because I started off college when I was very young. I started off college when I was 17 years old, and I just come in, and like till then, like everything I was doing, everything was working out. I never saw any setback before college happened. Slowly I started seeing stuff, and when I saw some setback happen, I just pushed on it like a little harder, and like everyone around me was just like, a lot of people were just saying yes to whatever I was doing, and like because of that I didn't really face any repercussions to things. And when I sat down in like when the early thing was happening, I had a lot of reflections of like those things. And like you said earlier about like what if there's another person on the list, and like some people might not be spiritual, and like some people might not actually completely like see that, but I think all of us are people on a list at the end of the day.
Right.
and we're given an opportunity to do something, but sometimes we're like I might just like do nothing. I might just like watch TV or
Right.
like just be on my phone, just
Right.
like do something that's easy.
Right.
But doing something which is different and like out there, and like some of the stuff you've done in your videos, right?
Right.
It's not something like people would do it as a first instinct, because all of those things put some effort in,
Mhm.
man. Like some effort, even if it's for something fun, like going on a trip with your friends, planning it out, and going with random strangers. That's work. As in, like going with like your closest set of friends that you met like a long time ago is easy.
Right.
But yeah, that's how do you like push yourself to do that?
I think it's
That's a long question.
No,
sorry.
no, you're good. I think something I've always been like addicted to when growing up is perspectives. I think the more perspectives you have, the more knowledge, or the better you just be able to see things, right? Like you read more books, you attain more knowledge. Just like that, the more perspectives you see from other people, I think it helps you, judge character better and, live your life better. So, like you said, like yes, I know my friends, they're great people, and at some point those friends were strangers, right? And because I became friends with them, I was able to do all these amazing things with them. But I don't want to always just sit in that comfort zone, right? Because I only have the perspectives of those people. But if I'm able to put myself out there and reach out to more open-minded people, then that's a whole another level of perspectives I'm, attaining. Like, like you and I talking, like at the end of the day, I could just say no, or you could have said no to me, but talking to you, I'm gaining a new perspective of how you see things and how you visualize things. That helps me map out and see the world a little bit better. So I think that's mainly it, but it's really the energy that's reflected on it. I can go out there and do all this crazy thing and ask people, but at the end of the day, they have to say yes, and that's what I've really been blessed with, is the people that have been in the vlogs, and people that have been said yes to me flying out to meeting these people and giving me a place to stay and just like taking me in. Like that just shows character, and so.
Yeah, also like it definitely shows that you come from a place of like really positive energy. Like as in, I know I had like a really long day before this, as in like the walk was in like, because I was walking all the way from like the other side of campus to like my class to here, and I was tired, right? And by the time I met you, I was still like a little tired, but I think you gave like a lot of positive energy that it like fueled like energy inside in a way. And that's
Thank you.
in a way that I think that's what's working out like in every single thing, man, because it's like really positive vibes and energy. And
right, and I try to, and I do have a lot of people that ask me like, how do I stay so positive? And at the end of the day, I don't. It is very tough. We live in a really harsh world, and you see a lot of things, but nothing is gained from looking at it negatively. Like, there's nothing gained from it, so you can be positive about it, you can learn from it, and you can move on and try to inspire others to do the same. But I think in the crappy world we live in, the least we could do is try not to make it a little bit more crappy, right? So that's really all it is.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful way of putting it, putting everything, honestly. And like, I hope there's certain days I try to follow that. Certain days, obviously, I'm like, I've become like the crappy person that puts stuff into the world. But I'm trying to cut that down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, definitely. That's cool.
Because when you're a crappy person putting crappy things into the world, crappiness comes back to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I had a saying that says like, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Definitely.
Right. So you can close your eyes and ignore it, but if you're not helping the case, then you're only with the case. So.
Definitely. So you've talked about like you doing a lot of things, like from DJing to like making vlogs and like making like the amazing like Instagram like podcasting that you do, and that actually inspired me to transition from like the audio version that I was doing exactly a year ago to there,
Right.
from to like doing like a video version on like Instagram that I started off like summer, like the start of summer.
Right.
Like that's like you were the person that actually I saw for the first time around like a month before I started that, and I started that like like in the similar kind of thing. And like with all of those things that you do, what's something that you would say is like the most passionate thing for you? I know all these things are really like you're passionate about, and where do you want to like, where do you want to go in like your creative journey is?
That is definitely a jam-packed question. I think that's something I'm still kind of thinking about, and I'm fairly new to this content world, and I've been blessed with some amazing opportunities just with having good mentors in my life. But also on the other hand, I'm in school for engineering, so I don't know which path to take right now, and I mean, I'm more of a spiritual person at heart, and I just hope, like God provides a way, and I kind of just go with it, right? So I don't want to stress about something that is gonna come eventually, no matter what, is avoidable, and I think it's just taking the path that I am right now and hoping someone sheds some light, and hopefully that kind of carries me. But I'm hoping to just be in an environment that adds value, whether it's engineering or in the content world. I don't want to do the same thing everyone's been doing for years and years, right? If I'm somewhere, whether I'm slaving my life out at a 9 to 5, I hope I'm slaving it out, making someone else's life better, or something. I'm adding value. I just want to have a purpose in this life, and hopefully that purpose is to make other people's lives easier. So.
Dude, that's a very, very beautiful answer, but also a very different answer from anything I've heard from anyone who's trying to pursue both of these things at the same time. Legit, I was talking to a bunch of people about these kind of things, and some people have gone into both the paths and relevant to them, and they're like, yeah, I want to basically work hard enough so I don't have to put in energy into that. And you're someone who's putting in a lot of effort into this, and you're letting the world give you the answer to it, and that's super different from anybody else I've spoken to.
I mean, sometimes that's really all you can hope for. It's where you put something out there and you're hoping it comes back at you, and it takes care of you. But I personally don't like stressing about things that I don't need to. One, it's not good for your skin. Two, why do it? But I believe I've been guided this far, and someone up there is looking out for me. So obviously he's got a plan, and I'm just here to follow it.
Yeah, dude, I hope it's a beautiful plan, and I hope you do great things.
No, I appreciate it. Hey, you too. I mean, this is your last semester too, and you're upcoming. You're doing great things. So I honestly can't wait to see where you sit maybe a year from now, where hopefully we can sit down again and kind of talk about the growth that we both progressed onto the world.
That'll be amazing, honestly, and I learned a lot about all the equipment stuff from you, from the technical end, to how to make a better podcast, the technicalities of it, because I was so technically challenged, and I don't know, man, even though I was doing CS and engineering and all of this stuff, in a way I was always oh my god, do I really need to put in that effort into this, or should I just record on a mic and just put it out there? Right. And people liked the mic part, and I was oh, maybe I should add something more. And when I was doing this, I was going for the easiest route, as in recording on my phone and just putting it out there. But I know that the quality isn't the best when I'm just recording on my phone, but I didn't go that route of putting in that extra mile for it. What basically made you get on that train of putting in more in a way increasing the quality of your content?
I think there's both ways of looking at it. I mean, I think there's people that are very new to this content world, and they do believe that maybe getting the best of the cameras and best of the mics and best of all this does help it, where at the end of the day that might be a bonus, but if you don't have good your quality over quantity, right? You can have all these amazing things, but if what you're recording isn't really speaking to the people, or whoever's watching can't connect with it, then it's kind of a waste, right? So I think originally when I first started, I started on my iPhone too, right? That's basically how I started, and I was doing my best, and people started watching it, and I just started getting feedbacks, and they were your stuff is really good, but you should invest in something better. And that's kind of this whole process, you're constantly investing back into yourself, whatever it is, just like food, right? You can eat junk food, or you have to, if you feel like crap, or you want to be healthier, you have to buy a gym membership, all right? Or you have to wake up earlier and start doing push-ups. There's always going to be some sort of hardship to invest back in yourself, but you have to just weigh out if that investment's worth it. So for me, when I started doing more work, I started working with different artists and people, I realized, maybe an iPhone or GoPro is insufficient. I need to reinvest in myself to be able to, do bigger and better things. That's really all about it. That's kind of it.
No, that's awesome, man. And also, I actually would love for you to actually tell everyone who's listening to this about what you just told me about when I asked you about what's something that you're deeply passionate about, and that was really, really a really heartfelt way of thinking about it, and that shows how you think, and that's honestly cool.
Yeah, no, I think that's something I've personally have had to reflect on for a long time, is trying to find that answer, right? What is it? What is value to you? And that's something we should all ask ourselves, because that helps us prioritize what we want in life. As much as it may think it's school, as much as it may think it's vlogging, as much as it may think it's traveling, which is a lot of things that I do, but something that holds my heart is my friends. I think that's really what it's all about. It's being able to look back and just, remember us just being complete crackheads in the Taco Bell parking lot, just laughing, sitting in a car, just eating food, breaking bread with one another. I think that is probably what is the most important thing to me, because traveling is there, yes, work is there, but when all that goes away, like the memories is really all you're left with, right? So, and I was telling you like earlier, like you have to prioritize what it is that is best for your mental health and what is best for your life. Yes, you might have your parents pushing you for school and internships and jobs, and that's very stressful, but if at the end of the day, if those things at the end of that path don't make you happy, if you have to sacrifice your nights going out with people, if you have to sacrifice your friends to get there, whoever you had to step on to get to the top is really lonely. Like you might have achieved everything in your life, but it's gonna get lonely. So at a young age, you need to prioritize what is it I care about, and try to include that a little bit more in your day-to-day, right? Whether it's health, gym, right, whatever it is. If you feel like you don't look good, invest a little bit more into yourself, right? You're working, but maybe sacrifice an hour of sleep so you can put an hour more into yourself. And for me, that was friends. And that's something I've been trying my best to do, is with my busy schedule, still pushing aside an hour at least once a week, or 2 hours once a week, just to be able to meet with my friends and just talk, hang out.
That's honestly really, really cool. And I'm glad that you're actually able to put all of those things down into your head when you're almost the same age as me, because sometimes you seem so much more mature than me, man. I feel literally a child.
No, not at all. I think it's just experiences we go through. I think we both just went through life a little differently. I think that's really all about it. But no, I've spoken to you. I think you're a super mature person. You're reaching out. You're here. That takes a lot, and so I don't think you ever have to compare that. I think we all are in different stages of our life, although we're the same age. Sometimes I feel like a grandpa, but I do believe that we're all in various different stages, and we're all working to climb up to the top, right? So that's what your friends are there for too. They kind of help you. And my mom always used to tell me moving up into life is like climbing a ladder. The higher you go, the ladder gets shaky, so you need people to hold it, right? Mm-hmm. But just don't forget the people that held your ladder when you're at the top. So I try to keep that in my heart all the time.
Yeah, dude. Also on all your vlogs, we see that you're super, super close to all your friends, and that's beautiful, honestly. And that's what makes the vlogs other than the quality of it, which is great and everything, just the bond that you share with your friends is what makes it even much higher.
No, definitely. Yeah.
Is there something that's an inspiration for you to take this path? That's kind of the last question in the alley, man.
Inspiration. I would say, I want to say, it's as cheesy as sounds, which is something I don't really talk about a whole lot, is definitely my little sister. I think everything I really do in my life is for her. She was born here, so she didn't really grow up with a lot of hardship that I did, and I try my best to not have her go through that, right? And I know people always tell me going through hard stuff builds character, and I just feel like if everything I've suffered in my life will go to waste if I let someone else suffer the same thing, right? So whether it was just opportunities, right? Being Indian in America, it does suppress your creativity and how people look at you, and the opportunities sometimes you receive, right? Being Indian and being a DJ is not really common. Being Indian and vlogging, not really common. And I think I try my best to help create a world for my sister where she can be whatever she wants. If she wants to dance, or she wants to vlog, or she wants to do whatever, that her race or her background or her gender should never suppress her from the opportunities. And if they do suppress her, go out and make those opportunities. People are always going to tell you no, but you gotta work. You can't. If you listen to every no that comes across in your life, then you're not gonna have time for anything else. So I am inspired by my little sister. I think I work hard every day to create a better world for her that will help her inspire someone else. So.
That's awesome, man. I'm really touched by that. I'm that's honestly a beautiful thing. Thank you so much for being on.
Of course. I appreciate it. I'm glad we got to do this.
Yeah, I'm really glad we got to do, man.